Pedro from A&P-Reacts. I'm here today with the legendary Terrance Hobbs, finally on the channel to talk about Suffocation and the new record, live in North America, out November 12th for Nuclear Blast. How's it going?
Oh, it's going okay, man. Just hanging in there here in New York, man. Just waiting to get my hooks back into playing on the stage, you know?
All right. Everybody's dying to see you guys back on the road, and everybody's dying to feel that vibe, that warmth that comes with a Suffocation live show.
I can't wait to get back out there, man. I got to tell you, Pedro, it's been a little bit of a chore since the pandemic hit. You know how that one goes. It's you know, our drummer is Canadian, just like you. He's up in Ottawa, and we had some times where, like maybe like 6 months after the pandemic hit, he was able to come back over here as a visitor, and he spent like two almost 3 months with us. And then we realized he only had X amount of time with that. And we were like, well, we got to work on a new record. We're going to write some riffs. You can go back home, do your thing. And since then, it's been pretty shabby when it comes down to visas and cutting across the border for us. So
yeah, things have been
a little bit of time to get it together. But
yeah, things have been pretty tough. And speaking of live shows, you're giving us a little bit of a taste of what it is to be at a Suffocation live show with this new record. And let me start off by asking you this. You knew that Frank was going to be leaving the band. It's been out there. When does it finally became apparent to you that, okay, this is really happening now? We can't run away from it anymore. It's here.
Right. Well, I mean, Frank had been talking about it for such a long time. And, you know, me and Frank are still good dudes. We're you know, best of friends, known each other for so many years. And, you know, as time has gone on, you know, between just his throat and him wanting to pursue different avenues, his job, his kids, the whole thing, he just wanted to kind of like ease himself away from it. And it's like, I knew it was going to happen. And I just didn't know when, you know what I mean? And when he was just going to say, not necessarily put his foot down and just be like, he was just going to be like, look, I'm done. You know, I just don't want to do this anymore. And I mean, he trust me, he loves being on stage. He loves the fans and everything, but I think he's kind of grown out of him and or grown away from him in some way, shape, or form. And that's cool. I mean, each to his own. Everybody follows their different path. He's my friend. He's always going to be there. We're always going to have, you know, fond memories of the things that we shared together, what we built together, what, you know, and all that. And I mean, it had to have been, I mean, it was quite a long time ago since Frank had started that with at least us and the people in the band saying, hey, dude, I'm getting ready to, you know, retire. I'm done. So we knew it, but we always kind of tried to push his buttons and keep him going. You know what I mean? And eventually it just came to a point where he's like, nah, dude, I really just don't want to. So that had to have been like maybe 3 or 4 years ago, where he was just ultimately serious about it. You know, once Of the Dark Light came out, he was like, cool, that's the last one. I don't have to do anything anymore. And I was like, all right, man, you know, I mean, what can I say? It's like, nobody's going to be able to keep you here if you don't want to be here. And, you know, we just want the best for whatever you think. So that was just the way it is. It's kind of sad, but still, I think it's better for him because it gives him the room to grow and do the things he wants to do. You know?
And I think at the end of the day, it's the best for the band too, because you want to have everybody pulling in the same direction with the same energy.
Exactly, you know, and I mean, you know, there was a point in time where things were very like on point #1 for Frank Mullen when it came down to the band, like writing lyrics and, you know, being there for practice and wanting to go on the road and just having that motivation that all of us still feel, you know? And especially the new guys in the band, you know, because things in the past changed. You know, I've had different lineups almost every record. So, you know, and none of that was because it was like me going, hey, dude, you're fired or you got to get out. Just people have different life issues and life experiences, and they wanted to go and do what they had to do. So that's where that really, as in a nutshell, went. But for Frank, I think it just grew away from him a bit. And I mean, it's kind of sad for me, for everybody out there in the world. You know, nobody ever wants things to change, but that's the only thing you can count on. You know, so with that being said, that's just where we're at. But I'm very happy with Ricky Myers. I'm really happy with Eric, our drummer, who's Canadian, and Charlie, our guitar player. And I mean, they've been in the band for 5 to 6 years now themselves, so they're not really that new. You know? but they have a lot of gumption and motivation. It keeps me happy. It keeps me motivated, gives me inspiration, and they're bringing in all that new blood into the band, which I think will open up a new chapter for us, and it'll be pretty good. You know?
So when you look at this live album, did you feel from the get-go that this would be the best way to honor Frank and give him like a send-off, like not a Viking send-off, but you know, a death metal send-off?
Well, I think so. And I mean, we had discussed doing another live album because the End of the Chapter album came out so long ago. That was live, and we wanted to reflect what the band sounded like now, especially, you know. And it took a little bit of just talking. It wasn't something that we were like, okay, we're going to throw Frank a giant going away party. Let's wait until 70,000 tons of metal and fucking call it a day or something, you know. He was just down with it because, you know, it was another release. It was live. It was the best representation of the band playing live at the time. And I think that for him, that's what kind of he really wanted. I did really want Frank to go and at least play like a show or two in like Europe, a show or two in South America, in Canada, in North America, which we got him to do the tour with, which was great because it was comfortable for him. You know, he had his wife with him and everything else, and made it good for him to be able to go out. But unfortunately, because of COVID, it's just making it so hard for him to be able to do that. And I think, yeah, that's pretty much, it's pretty much the last thing that he'll do live, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, and having so many recordings of each night, to pick the one Massachusetts show that we did for the album was probably the best thing in the world. And I really think it's a very fair representation of the band live, the way it should be.
That was the next thing I was going to ask you. When you're putting a live album together, is it easier for you guys to do just a one-night show and record that one show, or perhaps like pick off songs from several different nights?
That was the thing. What we did was we, you know, as technology's been getting better out there, and now they have all these Midas boards and Behringer boards and stuff like that, and different programs that you can record on. So we got all of our, like, you know, all of our tracks individual as many nights as we could on that tour. And then we had to sit there because we had like 25 something shows, all multi-tracked out. We have to bring them into our digital stuff and listen to it all and hear what we liked the most out of it. And it turned out that Massachusetts show just happened to have the best playing out of it all, with the least amount of technical difficulties. You know, no cracking cables, microphones falling over, shit like that. Like, you know, fans stepping on your pedal and changing the fucking patch. You know, shit like that, because they want to stage dive. So that one came out to be the best one. And really what we wanted to do was just kind of give Frank his natural way out live. Everybody knew what it was, and it made it kind of special for us. So, you know, it was something that was kind of cool for us to do.
Does this album work as a live album in the greatest hits? Because it kind of feels like it's 2 in 1.
Well, yeah, it really is, because, you know, for Frank coming back to the band, coming back into the fold to rehearse songs that we were going to do for a set for that in particular tour, it was just basically like, hey, Frank, which songs do you feel the most comfortable with? Because, you know, Frank really wasn't doing the touring and really wasn't doing the rehearsals. We always had somebody else filling in for him for a few years. So, you know, once we got Ricky had been, you know, back and forth, in and out. And we had him for such a long enough time and did so much touring with Ricky that it was like, that was eased in. But for Frank, he wasn't really doing anything. So we just approached him and we said, hey man, what songs do you want to do? Can you pick out the songs that you're comfortable with? And those would be the ones that we play, because it really is your farewell tour, you know, it's not. Mm-hmm. So most of those songs, with the exception of maybe 1 or 2, are all songs that Frank picked that he wanted to play. Yeah.
When you look at a live album, this is the band's second live album. By the way, props. The first one was in Quebec, so you guys really show some love to the Canadian fans.
Well, we got to keep it. We do have to keep it in North America, and of course, you know, every place out there in Canada has been like really super surreal and supportive of Suffocation since the beginning. And I mean, especially for that live album, Close of the Chapter, that to do it up at the Imperial in Quebec was pretty awesome. It was a great venue. You know, the crowd there is fucking awesome. And we couldn't have thought of a better place in North America to have done that one. And with Massachusetts, Massachusetts gave us a really great show, but also in the same light, it had the best performances like out of that whole in particular Live in North America tour. So both of them had their niches. They both had their claim to fame for each place. And I think they were both good calls on our part to be able to do them there. I would have loved to have done one at the Opera House, though. I have to admit.
Dude, that would have been epic.
I mean, we played there so many times. It's just one of those places that's like a staple to us, you know, and it would have been great to do it there too, you know. Maybe next time. Maybe
I was going to say the next one. I'll introduce you guys on stage. How's that?
Hey, man, you're more than welcome.
When you look at your favorite live albums, is there something that you took from those records that you wanted to see represented in this Suffocation album?
Well, I mean, you know, other than, well, not necessarily. It was more or less just the songs that Frank really felt comfortable with playing. When it came down to the actual album cover, we wanted it to be a serious montage of all the records, because, you know, most of the songs are from different records, and we wanted to have that collage together to make its own cover. You know what I mean? We didn't want to have to make something completely new for it. We wanted to show just some of Pinnacle, some of this, some of that, some of this, some of that, and put that all together on it, because that's really what the album was. The album, or the live album that's coming out, is a big collaboration of all the different records and the ones that Frank felt that he was most comfortable with and that represented most of the things that he was a part of. So, you know, it's a big sentimental thing for us more than it is, you know, just trying to nitpick one or two little items that really etched it the way it is, you know?
Having the ability to record multiple shows, and then obviously you guys decided to go with this one complete show, but having the ability to do that, does that take a little bit of pressure away when you're going on stage? Because if you go on stage knowing that that's the performance you're going to go with.
Yeah. I mean, it would be a lot different if, like, let's say the record company, like, let's say Nuclear Blast said, all right, we're spending $20,000 to film you and to multi-track you at this one venue, and it's a one-shot deal, get them to the Greek kind of thing, you know? That's really when you feel a lot more pressure. And I think it does also take a little bit away from having the energy that you want to have on the stage, because, you know, things do go wrong when your dread pokes you in the eye or gets underneath your guitar string, or you slip on the floor, or a cable gets popped out of your amp, and or whatever it may be. And, you know, we're always trying to put in as much energy as we possibly can. When you're being scrutinized and you want all of your playing to be good and you want all of everything to come out the best, it kind of you kind of got to pull it back a little bit, because you really want to make sure that your playing is on point, because it's going to be there forever. You know, it's going to be put out forever. With us, we were lucky because, I mean, we were able to record the majority of the shows that we had on that tour, because technology has advanced so much. Now everybody's got a digital console. You can put your Pro Tools in it, a Nuendo or a Reaper or whatever it is, whatever DAW choice, and record those tracks. So we were doing that every night. And from that point, that's when the hard part happened, when you had to import all that shit back in, listen to all these sets that you already played, and go, oh my God, I just heard this gross thing. Nope, that one's shot, flip, and that one's gone. You know? That one's gone. So the Massachusetts one was the most consistent and the best one for us on that tour with Frank. And I think it's a fair representation of what we are live. So
I was just going to say, the sound on this record, it's really incredible, because I can hear every single member of the band, and then I can bring them all together in my ears and appreciate the sound as a collective. Yeah. But then I also feel the warmth from the audience at the show. Like, there's so many different facets coming in, you know?
Yeah, there's a lot of variables. But I mean, really what it came down to is you got to give Christian Donaldson from Cryptopsy, he was the one who mixed and mastered this thing for us. Give him credit, because he did a great job on mixing and mastering a live record. I mean, it sounds just as good as anything we put out, you know, professionally, in my opinion. And the fact that you get the pieces of Frank in there. Of course, we couldn't give you the whole entire set with everything that Frank was bantering in the middle of it, just because it would have been too long. I mean, we were having to literally cut certain songs just off of of the actual LP of the wax pressing of it because it was too long. So, you know, with that being said, it's something that, you know, most musicians need to pay attention to, especially if you're putting out live wax, if you're putting out an LP, that if you have too much material, it's not all going to fit on it. It only fits so much. So, you know, there were some compromises that we had to have with that, you know, that we would have loved to have had in there with him bantering and everything, but everything is completely live of that show, but we kind of had to compress it down in order to make it all fit.
But you still get a lot of interaction between him and the audience, which
yeah. I mean, we wanted to keep that stuff there, you know.
Yeah.
Not just go, okay, this is the name of this one, bink, it's over, and on to the next song.
And I thought was perfect because at the end of the day, you want to hear the music, but you also want to get a little bit of that connection, that symbiosis between the fans and the band. And I thought you guys had enough of those two worlds coming together that makes the record move almost like a studio album.
Yes, exactly. And I mean, that was, I mean, what we're talking about right now was something that we seriously sat down like quite a few nights down here when we were just working on our riffs or doing any type of pre-production stuff and things like that, and listening to what we had sent, and, you know, just to put it together for everybody to listen to. It was like, oh, dude, we want to put this in there longer, but no, we can't because, you know, we need the time in order to do it over here. And then we need the mix to kind of sound like that. So we really contemplated like every little aspect in that way, in just knowing like, we're going to put these songs on there, but how are we going to do the in-between parts of each song? Because we'd like to give you the whole thing, but it just wouldn't work out for the vinyls. It wouldn't work out for the CD. It wouldn't work out for all of that stuff. So we did have to compress it, and it was really hard to get everybody on the same page to what we were going to shorten down and take out, and what we could give from that show in order to make it so we could get all that material there for all the different mediums, you know.
When you have a chance not to listen to the record, does any memory of that night pop into your mind like immediately?
Oh my God, there is so many memories. It was, listen, it was super hot. It was super crazy. The people that were there in Boston and Massachusetts were just fucking so good. Just best fans you could have in the world. You know what I mean? Just us playing live on the stage, and you know, it was tight and it was intimate. You know, people were doing their things, just the cheer of the crowd, being able to hang out. And, you know, this was a small place, so it was relatively intimate to a certain degree. And that kind of intensity just, you know, made it kind of unforgettable for me. Frank, he probably forgot because he got drunk. You know, that's his normal mainstay. And he's usually happy like that and he gets tuned up. But, you know, there was a lot of nice things about it. I mean, the food there was fantastic. So going out to lunch and being able to eat, coming to seeing the friends and fans, you know, it couldn't have gotten any cooler. You know?
Is there any story from Frank and you on the road that you've never told anybody that perhaps this would be a good time for you to share?
I mean, we've had our share of road tour stories. You know, I mean, just on that last tour, Frank, I mean, we got boxed and I woke up to a broken television set and I was like, is Pantera in the room? You know, are they here right now? I mean, we've had many drunken nights of falling all over the place, just being loud and obnoxious, having a good time dancing around. I mean, we've had our shares of arguments. We've had our shares of fun. We've had our shares of everything. Nothing too in particular that I could spew out off of the top of my head. You know, maybe one day when I'm smoking a bowl of weed, it might enlighten one of those dead things. And maybe the next time we do an interview, I'll bring it up. But you know, nothing too crazy and heavy. But there was one in particular time, and this is when we really first started playing out live. We had went to California and we played the Patriotic Hall. And I mean, this was like a big ass place, you know, they had lots of seating and everything. And for both me and Frank, we're like, wow, because, you know, we were very new to everything. And we were like, wow, this is fucking amazing. You know, we're getting ready to play in this place. And we couldn't believe how packed it was. And, you know, it had that old school, like Rimouski slam pit, you know, that just took up everything. And when all was said and done and we got done just talking to fans, we were like, dude, this was probably one of the fucking craziest shows, because they just mushed back all the seating and it was just level. The place was leveled. And it was like super surreal to see that kind of shit happen. And me and Frank were like, oh, we finally did it. You know, Pink, it was like, it finally happened that we got that one reaction that we've been expecting for so long. Not that Rimouski wasn't doing it, because since the day we were up in Canada, from day one, it's been fucking bananas. You know, so you Canadians, man, you got it going on. I don't even know what to tell you. It's fucking awesome. You've got great musicians and a great music scene. Big up to the Despised Icon guys and the Corroded Mutation and all those cool bands from up there, you know, Gorguts and fucking Oblivion and Martyr, and, you know, the list goes on and on and on and on.
And you know, there's a lot of love here for Suffocation.
Yeah,
Canadians
I mean,
love
you know,
Suffocation.
we love you guys up there too, you know, more than you would know. And we appreciate all the support through the years. Gotta tell you.
One last question for you. As this chapter closes,
Sure.
what is the next chapter for Suffocation as you see it?
Well, you guys, you know, we do have a pretty new, I mean, me personally, I have a pretty new lineup. You know, we got Ricky Myers. It's not that new. It's 5 years old already. You guys have probably seen us here or there. We're writing another record, obviously. We're about halfway through it. So hopefully mid next year, you guys will have some new Suffo, you know, coming down the pipe. You know, as long as we're not stuck on the road perpetually, because it's been a long time. We've had a lot of tours and things that were in the booking process from once COVID actually hit up until now. So if we do have the chance to go and finish that stuff off, obviously we're going to, because we don't want to leave our fans out there. We always have time to make a record, but we don't always have the time to see our fans. So we got to do that. But for the most part, yeah, we got a new record coming down the pipeline. We're about halfway there, and the music is super ballistic. You know, it's everything that Suffocation always has embodied, and we'll bring that out to you. Yeah, it's different. It's got Ricky on it. Ricky's super brutal too, and I think he fits right in there great. And from that point, it's going to be touring as usual, coming to see all of our fans and trying to get to all the places we couldn't get to. You know?
I trust you. You have the Midas touch. So if there's another record on the horizon,
that's what my little console is here. It's a Midas.
I know you're going to deliver. So I'm not even worried about it. Like, you know, it's one of those things that I have blind faith into anything that you put together.
You know that if it sucks, you guys are going to rip us apart anyway. So I can't afford to do that. Okay.
No,
it's not the scheme of things.
Consistent.
Yeah,
you guys are super consistent.
Right.
I'm yet to see a record where you guys suck at. I don't think that exists.
We really want to make sure that we keep to the roots and everything that, you know, us underground metalheads strived for, what made us the Black Sheep of Society and band together into this big metalhead thing. And, you know, it's like Cannibal Corpse. You know, they're never going to come out with a record that's not Cannibal Corpse. The same goes for us. And we want to make sure that we keep that alive and well for as many generations as possible, because that's what brings us happiness, you know.
Well, on that note, Terrance, thank you very much for your time, man. You're an absolute legend. I really appreciate you taking the time to come on the channel to talk to me about the new record.
A pleasure, man. Just you know, for all you guys out there, especially you, keep listening, man. We'll be here, and when that next record comes out, I hope I get a chance to talk to you again.
Oh, 100%. We're going to chat again, and next time you're in Toronto, I'm going to come and see you.
Great. I would love it.
Yeah.
Hopefully at the Opera House at our home away from home up there.
Yeah, hopefully at the Opera House. What a great place it will be for
it's the best, man. That sound system, that room, fucking fantastic.
Crazy. Yeah, it's a crazy place to go to a show. I'll see you there.
You got it, Pedro. Have a great night. See you guys out on the road soon, man.
Take care.